welcome the world of authentic traditions. From 15 states and counting, we bring you timeless crafts steeped in our traditions and culture. Working with heritage craftsmen, we have developed countless traditional techniques passed down to them. Each creation holds centuries of history, crafted to enrich your modern lives. Discover, experience, and bring home a part of your tradition.
Good evening, everyone, and I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to take you through our small contribution, the contribution of Zishta in reviving some of the traditional crafts from where they originated. Personally, for me, Personally, for me, that's my father on the screen. That's me and my father. When he was 70 years old, that was around 12 years ago, when we were on travel, he bought a notebook and he made me write down which place is famous for what, which village is famous for what. He was worried that after his time, if I didn't know anything, then the next generation will have no clue about what is what. This continued for a whole year. With me writing down whenever I travel with him, I used to carry the notebook and I had to diligently write it. He will check if I had written it right or wrong, right or not. And as we move forward, probably I felt in 2016, when three of us came together exploring certain ventures, when we wanted to start something together. I was in corporate for 23 years until 2016. And at that time, when we were talking about starting a venture together, maybe this was the seed that was laid in me to explore the crafts of India. So what we did was, three of us, we traveled to Tamil Nadu. Our mother tongue is Tamil. So naturally, the comfort zone of a regional language is Tamil. And so we went to Tamil Nadu and we met various artisans across Tamil Nadu, be it people who make utensils, lamps, mats, wooden toys. We met artisans across various crafts of Tamil Nadu. And what we learned, what was very important, that we came back with a knowledge of what's happening there. What we realized in 2016, I think it's changed a lot now. In early 2016, when we were there, what we saw was existential crisis for the crafts. And why did that happen? Because the craftsmen who were making it were the last generation. As you can see in the picture, these were the exact pictures we clicked in that year. They were all in their late 50s, early 60s. Many of the craftsmen had left the job and moved on to other areas of work at that point of a time. In fact, there is a place called Sengotai, which is a border village between Tamil Nadu and Kerala. The iron dosa tawa there is very famous there. And when, as a child, I have seen around 20 people making it at that street. In Jan 2016, there were only 3 people making. We started Zishta in July 2016, and there was only 1 person making it. That's the speed at which the artisans were moving away from the crafts at that point of a time. The other challenge was, for example, when we met the artisan who was making tin vessel, and we checked with him and we told him about our idea of starting a venture on our own and bringing back these crafts. He was the first person to scoff at us. And he said that, go back to your corporate world. You city people have no other job or what. He is very clear that the market is over for these products. He's the only last person making it. And he does it because he doesn't know anything else. He's been doing it, he does around 15 to 20 units in a month. And that too for local requirements. His son, who was at that time doing his MBA, when we spoke to him, he was very clear that, Akka, I'm going to do finish my MBA, go to Chennai and work in a large organization. Same thing happened with the artisan who was making a vessel called soapstone vessel. Locally, we call it kalchatti. My mother fondly remembers the kalchatti person coming to her village every month in a cycle selling the soapstone vessels. To an extent that now they were making around 500 units once a year in September for a festival that used to happen in Kerala, that it happens even now in Kerala. The rest of the months, they don't make a single soapstone vessel. And this artisan's son was doing his second year engineering. Same response, I want to come to Bangalore. In fact, he told me he will give me his resume and he asked me to help him get a job. So that was one of the major things that was happening, with this generation being the last generation who are making some of the crafts. Moving forward, what also happened was some of the designs were lost. So the first one you see, if you're a South Indian, you will recognize this. It's called Kayyavuruli. It's a bronze vessel. The artisan making that this particular product, when we went to his house, he had passed away. And the knowledge was not passed on. Nobody knew how to make it, in fact. That was a sad part, because in Indian cultural, in the Indian system, the knowledge is passed on Shruti, right, and Smriti. So you hear, there is no written documentation on how to make it. So the entire knowledge of how to make it was lost. The other one is, being South Indians and of course filter coffee lovers, the stereotyped view. We went to Kumbakonam, where it's famous for its filter coffee, brass, filter coffee, Davra tumblers, etc. Around 2 to 3 decades back, they had stopped making it, and the response we got is, who makes it anymore? Who drinks coffee in brass anymore? We all use stainless steel. In fact, we told them we will give them 5,000 units at one shot. They said we would not be able to make it anymore. So some of these crafts, these are just 2 examples across India as we travel. Quite a few of these crafts were lost. I'm speaking predominantly about Tamil Nadu because we started in Tamil Nadu, Zesta, in 2016. So armed with this information, we persisted, we continue to persist with the artisans, saying that we need the products. The person making tin vessel told us that, okay, this month I have made 17, you take it and go. The other person making soapstone, he gave us whatever he had. We collected some of the iron tawas and we left to Bangalore. But before that, why did this happen? Why did the crafts actually go away and the craftsmen move from whatever they were doing as part of their job? The most important thing that we came to realize was consumers had lost the link. The link between consumers, crafts and craftsmen was lost. So what happened was, consumers have moved on to modern, more classical products, more Western products. The story and the understanding of heritage and handcrafted products was actually lost. And thereby what happened was, in the words of the artisans, the one who worked, for example, we work in Punjab as well. We work today in 15 states. The Punjab artisan said that aapke pehle we were treated as laborers. Okay, aap aane ke baad we feel the pride of being a craftsman. And I'll tell you why as we move forward on the presentation. So the 3 of us, we are the 3 co-founders of Zesta. We said that we will work on heritage craftsmanship. It means that we will work with those craftsmen where the products actually originated, right? So the Punjab is famous for brass, or Gujarat, Kutch is famous for its bells. So each region is very famous for its particular craft. So we said we'll work with the heritage craftsmen. Thereby we wanted to revive that particular cluster once again. And heirloom quality. What is heirloom quality? Good old days, for example, my grandmother's soapstone vessel is still with me. So heirloom quality is you pass it on from generation to generation. And that's what we wanted to bring forward. Luckily, we traveled back to Bangalore after collecting all the products. In fact, the person making tin vessel challenged us, saying, even if you sell 50%, come back, we will have a talk. There was an event in Bangalore, we participated, and on day 1, we got sold out. And that was a huge surprise for us. Thank you. And what we realized was we saw the customers' responses. They said, oh, I know this. So there was a familiarity. They have seen it probably growing up. Over the last couple of decades, they lost touch with it. They didn't even know these products existed. So it was very interesting to know that there is a market for it. And then we started Zesta. So Zesta was started in 2016 July. Basically, our intention was to bring pride and trust back in consumer and back in the artisan's mindset. And that's how Zesta was started. The most important, and we wanted to mend the missing link between the craftsmen and the consumers, because only then the crafts can grow. The most important part we focused on was knowledge, right? So it was very important to document the knowledge and share the knowledge. When I say document the knowledge in terms of how is it made? What's the purpose of it? What is the artisanal value, traditional value, utility value? I'm going to continue to talk about the soapstone vessel because, each one is so amazing. A blob of stone taken out, mined out, goes through a process of 6 days before it becomes a vessel. It takes that much of time to convert it into a vessel. We document it. We, create the story. Basically, we retell the story which was lost over the last couple of decades. And then we also talk about the utility value, right? I mean, why should stainless steel is convenient. When you look in kitchen, stainless steel and plastic came in because they are of high convenience. So we speak about the utility value in terms of it being rich in magnesium, how it retains heat. You don't have to reheat because, the food is warm for 4 hours. It kills harmful germs. There were quite a lot of utility value that we created as a knowledge. And that over a period of years of conversation, I would say 3 to 4 years of conversation, we've built a huge customer base who have come back to revive these traditions in their homes. Not just that, the picture you see at the bottom, which is unfortunately hidden behind the pillar, is a kalai wala. You just can't bring the utensils and say that let's start with it. Because for brass and copper, if you want to bring it back, the ecosystem has to come back, which had vanished. I do not know how many of you have seen the kalai wala come in the cycle to your villages and, do the kalai. So now that was lost. And if not for the kalai wala, you cannot use brass because the brass has to be tinned. The ecosystem not being there is actually killing the product. So we brought back the kalai walas. We worked in multiple cities. The kalai wala that you see here does kalai in Bangalore in our office every month. In fact, today, tomorrow, and day after, the kalai is happening. The reason we brought it is most of the people had started using their beautiful bronze vessels and brass vessels as planters. And then we told them that, bring it, put it back to use because how much ever hard we try, the quality that was there 80, 90 years back is very difficult to revive. And so, we brought the kalai wala back. Every month people come, they come with children, they enjoy the whole process, they get their tinning done and go back. The top picture that you see is not only that, it's the youngest generation, 5 to 10 years old children. We've got these miniature sets. We create workshops. Again, every Saturday there are 15 children in one batch who come, cook and enjoy the whole process. So this is one part of the consumers. The other part is reviving the lost craft of the one, because I spoke about coffee filter. As Kumbakonam refused to make it, we had to take a 80-year-old filter, send it to Maharashtra. The artisans in Maharashtra are experts in making products with brass. They are very skilled. It took us 4 iterations. We being, thinking that we would start with coffee filter, ended up launching this product 13 months after we started Zesta. But it was such a pleasure because this is completely handmade. Your holes have to be perfect, neither small nor big. The top has to fit into the bottom. So it took us almost 4 iterations before we got the product right. So I don't know if it's going to play. One second. No. Sorry, could you just help me here? If you can just help me play just this one, please. We did not add a music because the process of making the clang clang sound is actually music to our ears. This is called Shakuntala Patra. I won't take much time on this. This is in certain communities in Maharashtra. We had an event in Pune and one of the artisans came to meet us. He actually invited us to his house, took out some of those old products, and this Shakuntala Patra derives its name from the eldest daughter-in-law, who they pyar se used to call her Shakuntala. And then the vessels after her was called a Shakuntala Bhanda, Shakuntala Ghee Bhanda, Shakuntala Tea Bhanda. And then we worked with him in designing it from the scratch and reviving it, which is very critical. The reason I wanted to talk about it is that's when the pride of craft comes back, that you start all the way from design to deciding what is the gauge, what is the thickness, what's the quality, how is it going to be relevant in the modern consumer mind, and you bring it back, and that's the Shakuntala Patra that you see here. Sorry, I need one more help here. How did you do it? So that was the this one. So what's the impact that we have created? So from one state, we started in Tamil Nadu, we started in 3 products. Today we work in artisans in 15 states. The top product you would see, the black one, is from Manipur. It's a pottery made without potter's wheel. You would see Kansa, the bottom one, which is from Orissa, which is a bronze. Known for thousands of years, their ancestors were also instrumental and part of building the Puri Jagannath temple. They come from that lineage. This one you see is the brass masala dabba. I do not know how many of you have seen brass anjare peti or spice box in your houses. There was a traditional logic to it. Brass has got 40% zinc and it retains antioxidant in our spices. Our spices are very rich in antioxidants and keeps it fresh longer. Everything had a science behind it. Every shape, size, metal, material had a science behind it, and that's our job. We understand the science and bring it forth. So today we work with 650 artisans across the country. Even though we have done this, it's still very small part of what India can offer to us, and we are still traveling. Tomorrow I'm traveling for the next 10 days. We are still scratching the surface, and there is so much to see here. The other one is. Yeah, the best news for us amongst all of this is the craft continuity. If anything has to, proceed for a long, long time, the continuity has to happen. The next generation is completely back into the particular craft. Lot of craftsmen who have left have come back. Not only that, the younger generation of craftsmen, the elder generation of craftsmen have become master craftsmen. They teach the younger generation of craftsmen, and that's why this 650 number also came in the previous slide. And then the, Yeah, this is, I would say it's a no-brainer, but it's a huge impact. Somebody who was earning 2 lakhs is able to earn, say, 50 lakhs. So you, naturally, when you create a market, automatically the income improves. Anywhere between 10 to 30x is the income improvement for the craftsmen. 3 times the job creation. Earlier, their job was seasonal. 4 months in a year is when they had job. Now it's 12 months in a year. So there is a job continuity. And last one is, if you see the image here, the top one and the bottom one, the top one is a house in Jandiala Guru. He is a 28-year-old boy. And he keeps saying, "Sirf aapse kama ke maine ye ghar banaya hai." Okay, so that's the happiest news for us. He did not want me to come to Jandiala Guru. In fact, tomorrow I'm traveling there because he said, "Zishta madam aayengi to everybody would want to work with you." So finally he kindly agreed that, okay, theek hai, aa jao. I want to introduce you to all the people who we are working with. So this is one of the major impacts, right? They've created workshops. So if you see on the top here, he has created workshop for others to work and go back. And these are some of the important impact that has happened. Of course, the last one, which is, 150,000 customers across 22 countries. We have been able to bring them back to the traditional cookware, way of living, etc. 75% of our portfolio is into cookware and dining ware. 25% is into other things like mats and other products that we see along the way. I remembered the conversation at the beginning of this session today morning by Mr. Sudipto, who spoke about flow. And I was very happy because I was noting it down, saying what we have created is the flow. The continuous flow of craftsmen to consumers, that's a flow, because now we have created the continuity, not allowing to get broken. And now from these consumers to the next generation, that's an important flow. If I have a vessel, now my next generation is going to take it, and the next generation is to take it. And hence we have created this flow, which was spoken in the morning, and I thought I should definitely quote it here. Thank you so much for your time.